Mike. Mike.
Oh, wait. Oh, yeah, we'll be wrapped up in just a minute.
You were sleeping.
No, I'm just making some calls.
Half an hour's up. Lunch is over. Come on.
Dude, it's been a rough night. Between my wife snoring, and my cat jumping up on me. I don't even like cats. And trains. Birds chirping. I've been up since 4 o'clock this morning. I don't normally get up that early. Cut me some slack.
Come
But
on.
hey,
We got a door to finish.
all right, let's get back to work. Train going by. All right, this door right here is manufactured by Provia. Provia actually will custom make the jamb thickness for us and the height if we want them cut down. This is actually, I ordered this door as a 7-foot door, 32 inches wide to fit the exact size of the original opening, and I had them custom make the jamb a 6-inch depth jamb. This is actually, even though it's a stained door, it's actually made of steel. So this is an embossed steel door with a grain texture to it, and they actually stained this and put a nice finish coat on there to make it very durable. We did a bronze threshold upgrade, and we have the black Georgian knob coming on from Schlage hardware, and the thumb turn deadbolt to match. So we'll be putting that on after we install the door. We trimmed off the exterior casing, but we didn't trim off enough because we couldn't get our saw tight enough to the siding. So without pulling the siding off, we got it as close as we could because we know we can also modify this brick mold. So this piece here that goes around the perimeter of the exterior of the frame is called the brick mold. We are actually going to cut it right along this line all the way around. That'll make this brick mold a little bit smaller so we can actually fit this door in and have plenty of room for shimming and squaring and making the door true and level. We're not worried about modifying this because we're going to wrap this entire frame here. This is called the jamb of the frame, and this is the brick mold of the frame. We're going to wrap it all with aluminum. We custom make that right here on the door, on the truck. So we'll wrap all these parts and pieces with our aluminum flashing, and then we'll seal everything so no water can penetrate behind it. The jamb we always order is also a rot-proof jamb. So it's very resistant to rot and insects as well. Right now we're ready to rip this piece of the brick mold off, and then we can start setting the door. The operating, this is called the operating slab of the door. It actually is secured to the frame. So this is the frame of the door, this is the slab of the door, and the slab is attached by these hinges. We always order the hinges to be matched to the finish of our hardware. So our threshold is a bronze finish, our hinges are a bronze finish or a matte black finish, and same way with the hardware. So they actually wrap this door in plastic to protect it, and then they also box this entire system in cardboard. So when this got delivered to us, it was completely protected in an envelope of cardboard. Inside that cardboard box is all the hardware. They already put the deadbolt on for us at the factory. All we have to do is install the Georgian knob set. Extremely good U-factor. U-factor, the lower the number, the better the performance. So the overall efficiency on this door is a 0.23, and I'll show you right here. It says DLAUV. That stands for double pane glass, low E argon gas, and UV protection. So that's some of the best glass out in the United States right now, without getting into the triple pane glass. This glass is all tempered for safety as well. So it's very, very difficult to break this glass. This is loose right here.
Okay.
So when you pick it back up, just be aware of that.
Yeah.
Sometimes we take the brick mold off so we can spray foam from this direction. What he's doing now is removing the screws they put extra screws. So at the factory, they not only nail it, they also screw together the joints to give it more strength. So before you cut any part of this, you want to take those screws out so you don't ruin the blade of your saw. So we do this out here. It prevents dust from getting in the house. But he's just going to follow right along this line. Again, we don't really need this part of the brick mold. That's a 1/2 inch right at that line. So he takes a 1/2 inch off here, a 1/2 inch off on the other side. That gives us an inch of play. That'll be plenty of room for us to adjust the door left and right and true the door to make it perfectly vertical. Have your glasses on?
Yep.
Safety first, my friend.
Oh yeah.
Right here on this side of the frame, you can see a steel plate. And I believe this is 20 or 22 gauge steel that they fasten to the exterior of the frame. So when your hardware deadbolt goes through here, instead of just being held in with wood, and it's a small piece of wood, it's actually held in with steel. So having that extra steel reinforcement prevents somebody from being able to kick the door in. Because normally if this were just a wood jamb without this steel plate, if somebody tried kicking this door in, all they're trying to break is that little piece of wood. That's why it's so easy to kick in most doors. So when we install a door, we don't use the screws that come in the screw pack, because the screws that come in the screw pack are maybe 3/4 of an inch deep. That's just not deep enough. So we're using 3-inch screws, 2.5 to 3.5 inch screws depending on the finish, that go all the way through the jamb of the door into the framing of the home. So that makes this a lot more secure when we're all done. We're using those longer security screws as well. All right, let's set that door. We're gonna do what we call a dry fit. So all we're trying to do now is set the door in place to see if everything fits, see if there's no interference. Look for gaps to make sure that we can get in there with our foam guns and get everything sealed. So what I'm looking for is trueness to the wall, making sure we have room. Everything looks good here. And what I like to see here, and you can see it all the way around the perimeter, is I have room to put my foam gun in there. So I can shim, I can foam, I can true this door, nothing is interfering. So we're in really good shape here. I like the height that I'm seeing here. That height right there is going to give the homeowner room to put a rug here to wipe their shoes when they come in. But it's not too high that they're gonna trip over it. That gap we will fill with a nice finish trim, a 1/4 round or something like that. So this casing is 5 inches wide. So at the paint line here, 5 inches puts me right there, right? That's perfect. Let's check this side. 5 inches is putting me right in the middle of that jamb right there. That's great. Then we want the same at the top. 5 inches is putting me right there at the edge of the frame. So everything's looking good for positioning of the trim work when we're all done, because we're reusing the original trim. If we weren't reusing the original trim, we could cut it to any size and that wouldn't be so critical. But we are reusing the original trim because it matches the rest of the windows throughout the home. So to keep that original look, we're reusing the original trim, so we have to make sure we set the new door with that original trim in consideration for placement. Now we have a raw unfinished bottom. If any water protrudes through this frame, if anything fails on this door, or if any water gets around this door, I want it to get out of the house. I don't want water to get in here or get trapped. So we're gonna make what we call a sill pan. And a sill pan basically ends up looking like a Z. So we're gonna flash down, out, and down again. And that creates what we call a pan. So that water, if it ever hits, it'll go out. The upstand leg is also called the dam leg, and water won't be able to get into the home. So we have a choice really. Do we want to dip it down into here and stay shy of the ledger board of the deck, or we can get into the ledger board of the deck area, and that is treated lumber. So if it ever does get wet, it should be okay. Yeah, that's true too. You can't have aluminum touching treated lumber; it'll eat right through it. Some of these doors take an entire day just to prep the opening, and then at the end of the day you're trying to get the door set and sealed. One thing that's critical on door sills or thresholds is you never want to hump. You never want it high in the middle. And the reason being, again, when that door closes, you don't want it to have an interference point somewhere other than the hinge. The hinge needs to be your high point. The foam actually hardens, and you can actually cut it with a knife or a saw. And so that's the nice thing about it, is that once that cures, it's good and hard. Before it cures up, it'll skin over. So once it skins over, in about 5 to 10 minutes, you can actually touch it, and you can kind of push on it and form it and shape it. It does to push on it. So it's best to pay attention to it and wait till it skins over and push on it to get it to be what I want it to be. So on the truck, Eric bent this into this shape that we wanted. This is our upstand leg or our dam leg. This is your fall away leg, which goes down into the behind the deck. So what we're doing now is we're going to actually bend it and shape it so it goes up the side of the wall. So what he does is making his first mark, and then everything will be referenced from that mark. So whether he was a 1/2 inch to the left or a 1/2 inch to the right really doesn't matter, because everything will start from his point here. Using the snips, you can cut it and trim it, and then using a straight edge, you can bend it and shape it, and now you've just created that pan up the wall. So now here, he'll push that up against that wall, and without even using a tape measure, he can just make his other mark at the other wall, and that will let him know where to bend and do the exact opposite on this end. The little red tool that he has there, it looks like a triangle, that's called a speed square. That is an extremely versatile tool for framing and building rafters and roofs, and we use it primarily just to create straight lines. But it gives you a perfect 90 every time. When we do our exterior flashing, all of that will be seen, or a lot of it will be seen, so we're a little bit more precise when we do the exterior flashing. Yeah, you might need to wait a little bit more.
Yeah, just a few more minutes maybe.
By the time we get this door unassembled and get the plastic off the hinges, that should be cured up plenty. But this has to be done at some point anyhow, so we might as well do it now. Yeah. You got to get this plastic off. So I like taking the time, remove the hinge screws, open up this hinge, get this plastic completely out of there, and then put the hinge back on. So Provia provides this dark screw finish, and it'll be 2.5 inches deep. What's nice about a 2.5 inch Phillips number 10 screws, number 10 is a heavy duty screw, first of all, but 2.5 inches allows you to go through the frame and into the frame of the home, which makes the door a lot more secure. Before you bury that screw though, you want to put shims behind here, and you want shims behind each of the hinges. So you have 3 hinges, you're going to put shims behind each 3, that way once it's secure and locked in with the screws, that door will never move and come out of square. See how soft and pliable that is right now? But it's skinned over, we can touch it, it's not getting on our gloves or our fingers, but we can shape that right down into what we want. So we know there's no air getting around this.
Oh no.
This is low expansion foam. If you were to buy gap filler foam, that is high expansion foam with high pressure, and it would actually just be everywhere at this point.
Yeah.
And it's very high pressure. So we did a dry fit. A dry fit means we didn't caulk it in, we didn't wet it. So we dry fit it, and we like it. It fits good. Now we're gonna caulk everything, clean all the dust out. Nope, hold on.